65. Take these 5 vitamins before bed for stronger legs and better mobility. When we think of vitamins, most of us know they are good for our health. But which specific vitamins are truly essential for people over 60 to maintain strong legs and the ability to move independently? Very few actually know the answer. Beyond restoring strength to aging muscles, these nutrients also play a surprising role in protecting overall vitality and long-term independence. In today's video, we will explore 5 of the most important vitamins for seniors. Before we begin, share in the comments where you are watching from, and stay with us until the end to discover which vitamin you may need most. Number 1, vitamin D, the silent key to stronger bones and muscles after 65. Few people realize that the majority of adults over the age of 65 in the United States are living with a hidden deficiency that can silently weaken their legs and increase their risk of falling. The shocking truth is that even in a country with abundant food and access to supplements, more than 40% of older Americans are estimated to have insufficient levels of vitamin D. This is not simply a number on a lab report. It translates directly into fragile bones, weaker muscles, slower reflexes, and in many cases, an increased likelihood of fractures that can take away independence. Vitamin D is not just a vitamin. It acts more like a hormone, influencing hundreds of processes throughout the body. But its most powerful role for older adults is in helping the body absorb calcium and maintain the delicate balance of bone renewal. Without enough vitamin D, the calcium in one's diet, even from milk, yogurt, or leafy greens, passes through the system unused. This is why many seniors who eat healthfully still struggle with declining bone density. As the decades pass, bones naturally lose mass, and muscles respond more slowly. Add vitamin D deficiency to the mix, and the body loses its natural armor against falls and injuries. A story from a patient in Ohio captures this reality. A 72-year-old woman, otherwise active and independent, came to the clinic after experiencing her second fracture in less than 2 years, both from minor falls. She had been walking in her garden one morning when she slipped slightly on the damp grass. What should have been nothing more than a stumble left her with a fractured wrist. Her bone scan revealed significant thinning, but her blood test told the deeper story. Her vitamin D levels were far below optimal. She admitted she rarely spent time outdoors and assumed her multivitamin was enough. After a tailored supplementation plan and more consistent exposure to natural sunlight, her strength gradually improved, and she regained confidence in walking outside again. Her story is not rare. It is a reflection of how aging, lifestyle, and hidden deficiencies interact. The aging body undergoes a profound shift in its ability to synthesize vitamin D. In youth, sunlight striking the skin can trigger the production of vitamin D efficiently. By the age of 65, the skin's capacity to generate vitamin D from sunlight declines by as much as 50% compared to someone in their 20s. At the same time, kidneys, which are responsible for converting vitamin D into its active form, also lose efficiency with age. This double decline makes older adults especially vulnerable. That is why even those who enjoy the outdoors are often surprised to learn their blood levels are inadequate. The safety and personalization of vitamin D supplementation are essential. While the nutrient is critical, taking excessive amounts can lead to high calcium levels in the blood, creating risks for the kidneys and cardiovascular system. The National Institutes of Health recommend that adults over 65 aim for around 800 international units, IU, of vitamin D daily, though some individuals may require higher amounts depending on their blood levels. The most responsible approach is to have a healthcare provider check blood levels and determine the right dose for each individual. This process is called medical individualization, and it is the safest way to reap the benefits of supplementation without unintended consequences. Recent research underscores the power of vitamin D in maintaining strength. A 2021 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism reviewed data from more than 25,000 older adults worldwide and found that those with adequate vitamin D levels had a significantly lower risk of falls and fractures compared to those who were deficient. Another study from Harvard Medical School showed that vitamin D supplementation combined with moderate exercise led to measurable improvements in muscle function, particularly in the legs, which are the foundation of balance and independence. These numbers are not abstract. They represent real changes in the daily lives of older adults who can walk with greater confidence, climb stairs with less fatigue, and enjoy hobbies without fear of injury. The practical application of this knowledge is refreshingly simple. Ensuring adequate vitamin D can come from three main sources: safe sunlight exposure, nutrient-rich foods, and supplements when needed. Just 15 to 20 minutes of morning sunlight a few times a week can provide a meaningful boost, though this depends on latitude, skin tone, and season. Foods such as salmon, tuna, fortified milk, and egg yolks offer additional support. For many adults over 65, supplements remain the most reliable way to maintain steady levels, especially during winter months when sunlight is scarce. The important message is that one size does not fit all, and the path to optimal vitamin D should always consider individual health conditions and guidance from a trusted physician. The deeper lesson here is not only about preventing falls or fractures, but about preserving autonomy, dignity, and quality of life. Stronger legs mean more than physical stability. They mean freedom to walk in the park, to play with grandchildren, to garden, to travel, and to live without the constant shadow of fear that one misstep could change everything. Vitamin D, though often overlooked, is one of the simplest and most powerful tools to keep that freedom intact. The call to action is clear. At age 65 and beyond, waiting for symptoms to appear is too late. Being proactive by asking a doctor for a vitamin D test, ensuring safe supplementation, and embracing daily habits that protect bone and muscle strength can dramatically alter the trajectory of aging. The science is strong, the evidence is abundant, and the path is within reach. With something as simple as the right level of vitamin D, the golden years can be lived with greater strength, balance, and confidence. Number 2, vitamin B12. Could fatigue and forgetfulness be something more than aging? How often do fatigue, cloudy memory, or tingling in the feet get brushed aside as just normal aging? The unsettling truth is that these are not always inevitable signs of getting older. Sometimes they are the body's cry for help, pointing to a silent yet correctable deficiency: vitamin B12. Studies estimate that nearly 1 in 5 adults over 60 in the United States are affected by low B12 levels, often without realizing it. What makes this especially concerning is how its effects can mimic or accelerate aging, blurring the line between what is natural and what is preventable. Vitamin B12 is essential for red blood cell production, nerve function, and DNA synthesis. Unlike some nutrients, the body cannot make it, which means it must come from diet or supplements. However, with age, the stomach produces less acid and intrinsic factor, both needed to absorb B12 from foods like beef, fish, or dairy. That is why even those who eat a balanced diet may still find themselves deficient. The difference this vitamin can make is best seen through two very different stories. In Florida, a 70-year-old woman spent years believing her forgetfulness and constant fatigue were signs of early dementia. She became anxious about leaving her home alone because of her unsteady balance. Her family assumed this was simply the reality of aging. By the time she was properly tested, her B12 deficiency had caused significant nerve damage that could not be fully reversed. What might have been corrected early had now limited her independence, leaving her reliant on her children for everyday tasks. Contrast this with a man from Minnesota, age 68, who faced similar struggles of exhaustion and memory lapses. Unlike the first story, his physician ordered a full blood panel that revealed a severe B12 deficiency. He began receiving injections followed by oral supplementation. Within months, his energy returned, his balance steadied, and his memory sharpened. His family had feared dementia, but what they discovered instead was a simple nutritional gap. Today, he continues to live independently, even taking long walks daily, grateful that his condition was caught in time. These two lives, so different in outcome, illustrate both the hidden danger and the hope of vitamin B12. When deficiency is overlooked, its effects can strip away vitality and independence. When identified and treated, it can restore energy, clarity, and mobility in ways that feel almost miraculous. Science provides strong evidence to support these experiences. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with low B12 levels scored significantly worse on memory and reasoning tests compared to those with sufficient levels. Another study showed that prolonged deficiency can lead to brain shrinkage, while supplementation in deficient individuals improved cognitive performance in nearly 70% of cases. These are not small differences. They represent the margin between living fully engaged and gradually withdrawing from life. Safety is a central concern, but B12 is one of the safest vitamins to supplement. Because it is water soluble, excess amounts are excreted in urine, which greatly reduces the risk of toxicity. The recommended daily allowance for adults over 65 is 2.4 micrograms, but many physicians prescribe higher doses depending on individual needs. Options range from oral tablets to sublingual drops to injections. The key lies in personalized care, regular blood testing to monitor levels, and professional guidance to tailor supplementation to each individual. The real-world applications are straightforward yet powerful. Including salmon, fortified cereals, or dairy in the diet helps, but for many, absorption challenges make supplementation necessary. For those on a plant-based diet, fortified foods or supplements are essential. A simple blood test can reveal whether action is needed, and taking that step can prevent years of struggle. The lesson is clear. Not every sign of aging is unchangeable. Sometimes fatigue, weakness, or forgetfulness is not aging itself, but a correctable deficiency. Recognizing this difference can change the course of life in the later decades. At 65, the body still has remarkable potential for renewal if given the right support. The stories of two older adults, one who missed the signals and lost her independence, and one who sought answers and regained vitality, serve as a reminder that awareness makes all the difference. Choosing to investigate symptoms and act early can mean the difference between decline and renewal, between dependence and freedom. Number 3, magnesium, the unsung mineral that could be the missing key to strength and rest. Nearly 70% of adults over 65 are not getting enough magnesium, reported the National Institutes of Health. This statistic is not just alarming, it is life-altering when you understand what magnesium does for the body. This mineral is deeply involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions, from supporting muscle contractions to regulating heart rhythm and calming the nervous system. Yet, it often goes unnoticed, silently influencing everything from bone health to sleep quality. The role of magnesium in maintaining strong legs cannot be overstated. Muscles rely on a balance of calcium and magnesium to contract and relax properly. Without enough magnesium, calcium floods into muscle cells unchecked, creating stiffness, cramps, and the nagging nighttime leg spasms so many older adults endure. Studies published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society have shown that seniors with higher magnesium intake not only report fewer muscle cramps, but also demonstrate better walking speed and balance. For anyone seeking independence and mobility at 65, this mineral is not optional, it is foundational. Consider two neighbors living in Arizona, both in their late 60s. One, a retired teacher, struggled with painful night cramps and restless sleep. She thought it was simply her age catching up with her. Over time, her legs grew weaker, and she avoided walking outdoors in the evenings, fearing sudden cramping spells. Her quality of life narrowed without her realizing that a simple nutrient was at the root. Meanwhile, her neighbor, a former nurse, recognized the same symptoms in herself and sought testing. She learned her magnesium levels were low and began supplementation along with magnesium-rich foods such as almonds, spinach, and avocados. Within weeks, her cramps subsided, her sleep deepened, and her energy returned. She was back to gardening and enjoying long evening walks. The contrast in their lives reflected not destiny, but awareness. Magnesium also plays an overlooked role in supporting sleep, which is often disrupted in later years. Research in sleep medicine reviews found that magnesium supplementation improved both sleep efficiency and sleep duration in older adults. By calming the nervous system and regulating melatonin, magnesium helps the body achieve the deep restorative rest that muscles and bones need to repair. In turn, this contributes to stronger legs, better energy during the day, and a reduced risk of falls. Safety is crucial when discussing any supplement. The recommended dietary allowance for older adults is around 320 milligrams per day for women and 420 milligrams for men. While magnesium from food sources is safe, supplements should be chosen carefully and ideally under medical guidance. Too much magnesium from supplements can lead to diarrhea or, in extreme cases, heart rhythm issues. That is why personalized medical advice is key. A blood test can help determine if supplementation is truly needed, allowing for a tailored approach rather than guesswork. Magnesium's power lies in its simplicity. By making small, thoughtful adjustments such as adding leafy greens to meals, incorporating pumpkin seeds or yogurt as snacks, or discussing magnesium supplements with a physician, older adults can profoundly improve both their physical and emotional well-being. This is not about chasing youth, but about preserving vitality and independence. The lesson here is profound yet simple. What feels like aging is not always inevitable. Sometimes it is a correctable imbalance. Muscle weakness, poor sleep, or restless legs may be the body's way of whispering for more support. Magnesium, though quiet and often overlooked, has the ability to restore energy, resilience, and peace of mind when given the chance. At 65 and beyond, every choice made for health matters more than ever. The difference between the woman who accepted her pain and the one who reclaimed her freedom is not luck, but action. The truth is powerful. Magnesium deficiency is common, but so is the opportunity to reverse it. When recognized and addressed, this unassuming mineral can quite literally put strength back into one's steps and rest back into one's nights. Number 4, vitamin K2. Several years ago, a woman in her early 70s came into a clinic in Boston. She had taken calcium supplements faithfully for more than a decade because she wanted to protect her bones. Yet, despite her discipline, she experienced 2 minor fractures and was told by her cardiologist that calcium deposits were also building up in her arteries. This story left many doctors puzzled until further investigation revealed a missing link in her daily routine: vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is often overshadowed by vitamin D and calcium, yet it plays a decisive role in whether those nutrients truly help or harm the body. Its unique function is directing calcium into the right places, primarily the bones and teeth, while keeping it away from soft tissues such as arteries and joints. Without adequate K2, calcium can drift to the wrong destinations, creating brittle arteries and weak bones at the same time. For adults over 65, this mechanism becomes even more important because natural K2 levels decrease with age, and the consequences of imbalance can be severe. Research from the Rotterdam study, which followed thousands of older adults for over a decade, found that people with higher vitamin K2 intake had a 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease. This number alone underscores how essential it is not just for bone health, but for protecting the heart. Unlike vitamin K1, which is abundant in leafy greens and helps with blood clotting, vitamin K2 is harder to come by in a typical Western diet. It is found mostly in fermented foods such as natto, a traditional Japanese dish, and in smaller amounts in cheeses, egg yolks, and certain meats. Because many older Americans eat less of these foods, deficiency is common without even realizing it. The body's aging process makes this issue even more urgent. As arteries naturally stiffen with time, calcium tends to accumulate in the vessel walls. At the same time, bone density declines, raising the risk of hip fractures and leg weakness. Vitamin K2 is one of the few nutrients that addresses both problems simultaneously, which makes it uniquely valuable for maintaining stronger legs and a healthier circulatory system in the later decades of life. Safety, however, must be emphasized. Vitamin K2 can interact with blood-thinning medications such as warfarin, so any change in supplementation should be guided by a healthcare provider. The principle of individualized care applies strongly here. What works for one person may need adjustment for another. Still, clinical evidence suggests that for those not on such medications, daily supplementation in the range of 90 to 120 micrograms is generally safe and effective. Imagine 2 men of the same age, both 68. one incorporates vitamin K2 alongside his calcium and vitamin D regimen, while the other does not. 20 years later, the first is walking his granddaughter to the park with steady steps and flexible arteries, while the second struggles with stiffness in both his bones and his blood vessels. This contrast is not exaggerated. It reflects what science shows about the long-term consequences of overlooking this vital nutrient. Adding vitamin K2 into a daily routine can be as simple as discussing supplementation with a doctor or introducing more K2-rich foods into meals. A slice of aged Gouda cheese or a serving of pasture-raised eggs may sound modest, but over time these choices contribute to stronger legs and a more resilient heart. The lesson is clear. It is not only about how much calcium enters the body, but also about where that calcium ends up. Vitamin K2 acts as the traffic director, ensuring calcium supports bones instead of burdening arteries. For adults over 65, this guidance from within can mean the difference between fragile steps and confident strides well into the years ahead. Number 5. Omega-3 fatty acids. Picture an early morning on the rugged coast of Maine. The sun breaks through the mist, fishermen haul in nets heavy with wild-caught salmon, and the sea air is thick with salt and promise. For generations, coastal families who built their lives around the ocean knew something that science is only now fully proving. Diets rich in fish oils keep minds sharper and bodies stronger deep into old age. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, are among the most powerful nutrients for seniors seeking not only stronger legs, but also a sharper memory, calmer mood, and healthier heart. Unlike most vitamins, which the body can store or synthesize to some degree, omega-3 seconds must come directly from food or supplements. They are the building blocks of cell membranes, protectors against inflammation, and silent guardians of the brain and muscles. One landmark study from Harvard followed older adults who consumed regular servings of fatty fish and found they had a 35% lower risk of developing physical frailty compared to those who did not. Frailty, often described as a syndrome of weakness, slower walking speed, and vulnerability to falls, is one of the greatest threats to independence after the age of 65. Omega-3 seconds combat this by preserving muscle mass, improving circulation, and reducing chronic inflammation that eats away at both strength and energy. The benefits extend to cognitive health. Research published in Neurology revealed that higher blood levels of DHA, one of the key omega-3 seconds, were strongly associated with a larger brain volume in older adults. In simpler terms, those with more DHA had brains that aged more slowly, delaying memory decline and protecting against dementia. This is not just about remembering names or places. It is about preserving the independence and dignity that come with a resilient mind. Omega-3 seconds are also heart protectors. The American Heart Association emphasizes their role in lowering triglycerides, reducing blood pressure, and preventing dangerous, irregular heartbeats. For someone over 65, these benefits are life-altering. Stronger circulation means more oxygen reaches the muscles, which translates into steadier legs and greater confidence with every step taken. The story of omega-3 seconds is also one of contrasts. On one hand, consider a retired teacher in Seattle who enjoyed grilled salmon twice a week, supplemented with fish oil, and entered her late 70s still gardening with energy and balance. On the other hand, think of her friend the same age, who avoided seafood and lived largely on processed meals. She struggled with stiffness, fatigue, and frequent forgetfulness, never realizing that her diet silently accelerated the decline. Their lives diverged, not because of fate, but because of choices at the dinner table. For those who dislike fish, omega-3 supplements provide an accessible alternative. High-quality fish oil capsules or algae-based supplements for vegetarians can fill the gap. The key is consistency. Taking 1 to 2 grams daily, under the guidance of a physician, can make a measurable difference in mobility and mental clarity over time. It is important to highlight safety. While generally safe, high doses of omega-3 seconds can thin the blood and should be carefully monitored in anyone taking anticoagulants. The principle remains the same as with other nutrients. Personalized care ensures maximum benefit without unnecessary risk. The lesson from the coast of Maine and countless clinical studies is clear. Omega-3 fatty acids are not optional extras, but essential allies in healthy aging. They enrich the body, fortify the legs, and sharpen the mind. For anyone over 65, adding them to the daily routine is not merely an act of prevention, but a declaration of commitment to living fully with strength, clarity, and grace. My dear friends, aging often feels like it begins with the legs. We notice the steps getting slower, the balance a little less steady, and the quiet fear of falling growing stronger. Yet the truth is clear. This decline is not inevitable. Science shows us that with the right knowledge, the right nutrients, and the right daily habits, we can preserve strength, independence, and dignity far longer than many believe. We've seen this through real stories. The grandmother in Ohio who suffered fractures from simple stumbles until her vitamin D levels were restored, and she found her confidence to walk her garden again. The man in Minnesota who thought he was slipping into dementia, only to discover it was a lack of vitamin B12, and who, once treated, regained his clarity, his energy, and his independence. Or the woman in Arizona who believed painful cramps were simply part of aging, until magnesium gave her back her sleep, her strength, and her freedom to enjoy evening walks once more. These are not rare miracles. They are reminders that small changes can rewrite the course of our later years. The science is consistent. Vitamin D strengthens bones and muscles, preventing dangerous falls. Vitamin B12 sharpens memory and protects nerves. Magnesium restores balance, calm, and restful sleep. Vitamin K2 directs calcium to the right places, safeguarding both bones and heart. And omega-3 fatty acids nourish the brain, fight inflammation, and keep us strong in body and spirit. None of these are magic pills, but together they are powerful allies in the fight against frailty, weakness, and decline. And here is the most important truth. It is not too late to begin. Aging is not a cliff we fall off. It is a process we shape. Every small intentional choice, asking your doctor for a simple blood test, stepping into the morning sun, adding salmon or spinach to a meal, taking the right supplement before bed, can open the door to more years of strength, confidence, and joy. Do not wait for decline to arrive before you act. Protect your independence now. Build the habits that allow you to keep walking freely, keep holding your grandchildren, keep living the life you love. One step at a time, you can build a stronger tomorrow. Now, I invite you to join the conversation. What small change have you made or will you make tonight that can strengthen your future? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice may inspire someone else to take their first step toward renewal. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe right now. Every week, we share lessons designed to help you live with more vitality, more balance, and more joy. Thank you for watching our video. May tomorrow bring you health, peace, and the strength to keep moving forward with confidence. From our family to yours, we wish you a beautiful day filled with hope and every good blessing.